Big Drive Energy Hump Day edition, and man, do we have an episode for you. It feels like a million things have happened in the golf world. Mitchell's just firing off link after link after link at us. We'll talk about Davis Riley winning at Colonial. We'll have to talk about the heartbreaking news of Grayson Murray, not for too long, but just some sad stuff coming from the PGA Tour. Senior PGA, Richard Bland, Live Tour guy, Live Tour Blandemonium on the PGA Tour Senior Championship presented by KitchenAid. We've got Greg Chalmers finishing third at the Senior PGA and gets no status, so now he has to Monday queue. Nelly is playing in her 18th... No, that's Lexi Thompson, sorry. He's playing in her 18th U.S. Open, also her final Women's U.S. Open. Charley Hull has my heart now. This lady is just incredible. And then we also got a guy from UNI playing on the DP World Tour. Pretty insane story because he doesn't really have any status, never really played competitively that high of a level. So we've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to rapid fire, get through it. Let's tee it up. What's up, brother? How was your Memorial Day weekend? It was cool. I actually had Monday off, so it was like a legit Memorial Day weekend for me.
Yeah, that's great. I know you've been going to a lot of Rockies games. I don't know why you're giving that family money, but, whatever.
3 and 4 days, undefeated, baby.
What is that, like, add 20% of their total wins for the year? Pretty close to it, actually. 3 wins is like 15% of their entire year at this point. And
yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
The 60-game mark. But anywho, my weekend was great. We obviously took Monday off for those of you who didn't see. And honestly, the PGA Tour event this last week was a bit of a snoozer. We also, I feel like, just brainworm, we need to talk about the Scottie Scheffler situation because charges were just dropped. They just announced that. So we can get into what footage, they released afterwards because all of it just makes the cops look worse and worse. But anywho, PGA Tour event was a little bit of a turd. Just watched sports all weekend. We went to the beach Friday. Friday was awesome. It was like 75 and sunny at the beach. I got burnt. It was more just my right side of my body. So I'm now half strawberry, half vanilla. The left side's vanilla, the right side's a strawberry.
So you're like 2/3 of a Neapolitan Breyers fucking ice cream dish.
Exactly, but I have made sure because I've been seeing, obviously everybody knows the forehead golf tan is terrible. So I've been making sure to pop the hat off. I'm actually getting a haircut today. Shout out to me. The hair is getting a little shaggy.
Have you found a spot out there? Is this going to be like your maiden voyage to a new spot?
No, I got my haircut last fall out here, and it was like this younger kid, and I told him, everybody just gets fades here, and I'm not like a hard fade type of dude. I don't need that real tight shit. I just need like an actual just grown dude haircut. So grown dude, balding, male pattern baldness, fucking widow's peaks, balding on the back, the whole bit. But so the first dude I went to just takes a buzzer to fade me, and he pressed it so hard up against the side of my head, it was legit moving my head, and I got a big fucking dome on top of it. So if you're moving my head, then I feel like you're being a little bit too aggressive. So I'm trying a different place in town now.
It was a one and doneer for you.
Yeah, it was a one and doneer, and it's just tough too because I haven't, found somebody that I like, so it's just trial and error until I find somebody, and then I'll stick with them. But real quick, I want to get your opinion on this. So I'm getting a men's haircut, obviously. The price is $48 for just like a traditional haircut. Do you think that's like outrageous? Is that like the ballpark? I mean, this town is generally more expensive, I would say, than your average town, but $50 for like a half-hour haircut, and I don't have a problem with it necessarily. I just want to know what your opinion is.
That's a little steep for me. The last time I remember getting my haircut and paying for it, that wasn't like a family friend, you know, because your main barber out here in Colorado is a family friend that we've known since we were 5 years old. So without being her, I think I went to Floyd's in like maybe 2018. I think is the last time I like paid for a haircut. I actually just cut my hair yesterday, so I'm looking crisp. Got the the crisp beard shave down to the ball fro. No, but I think 48's a little high. 40 to me, like when I was college was fucking 10 years ago. We used to go to this place down in college that was like whiskey. You get a glass of whiskey and a haircut for like $28. So inflation be crazy. But
was there like a legit dog cutting your hair and like some Kentucky Deluxe whiskey or what? Because that's fucking.
No, it was
like,
good whiskey.
No,
So
honestly,
here you are fucking complaining about $48, and then $28. You're like, oh, was it a literal human beast cutting your hair? Was it a fucking AI robot? Like, what the fuck? Where's your middle?
My middle is around the 35 to 40 range because I'll usually tip 10 and it's like an even 50.
Okay.
But now I'm going to tip probably $7, make it an even 55, and I just hope that they're going to be satisfied with that. But I will say too, when you're in college, you could get a whole fucking. First of all, you could buy liquor illegally, which everybody does in college. But I don't know.
I allegedly did that.
Do you know if that liquor store still exists?
I don't know. I'll have to check it out. Mr. Kim was the shit.
What was it called?
Liquors. I don't think it had a name.
It just had liquor on the front.
Well, there was a street that street, Acacia Liquors. I don't know. I think it was just named after the street.
Okay. Well, and you also had that 2000 Wok place where you could get like 2 entire boxes of Chinese food for like $5. And so, yes, inflation has definitely changed since you were in college. But I was just curious where you fell on that haircut scenario. But yeah, I've been teaching. I've had like 6 or 7 lessons the last week, so that's been awesome. A couple of students, they're like probably my age or a little bit older, probably early 30s. And they both kind of got into golf and started taking it more seriously during COVID. And these 2 dudes, like it is actually crazy because it's actually crazy. If I showed you a video of their swings, you'd be like, oh, they're, one of them's probably in the low 90s, high 80s, and the other one's probably in the low 80s, high 70s. But I'm just seeing their actual golf swing, not their game out on the course. One of them has never broken 100 before, or his best score is a 99. And he legit, like, I'm not to toot my own horn, and he was very happy with the lessons. Listen up, bitch. He was very happy with the lessons. He was he was shocked because he had a round. Basically, both of these dudes were like, I have a round that I care about next week, and so I need. Like, they both hit rock bottom. One of the dudes, his name's Rohan, really cool dude from, like, Jamaica. He goes, one of my buddies who's terrible beat me, and that's how I knew I needed help. He's like, that's when I reached out. I was like, yeah, you got to hit rock bottom in order to really pull yourself up. But legit, both of these dudes, I had him striping it. So the first guy, he was like, I have a round at Donald Trump's course down in Colts Neck that he got invited to. It's a very high-end, all Trump's courses are, a very high-end country club. And he came back. So we had our first lesson last week. He came back, and we had our second one yesterday. And he goes, dude, I was 4 off of my lowest score ever, and I chipped and putted like a complete asshole because the rough was like 6 inches high. He was like, I did not, like, both of these dudes came to me flat out shanking it, like hitting it into I'm not shitting you. They were both hitting the hosel extremely hard. And within one lesson on both of them, they're hitting these tiny little baby draws. So It was pretty awesome. Like these dudes, my students have been awesome so far. I've got a couple more later this week, but yeah, just out here teaching, going to the beach, getting sunburnt, watching sports. You know, that's kind of my life at this point. I will say, so we got a creamy real quick. I don't have we mentioned the creamy on the podcast?
No, I don't think so.
So it's hot in the streets right now. This creamy thing that you make your own ice cream, but it is legit like lived up to the hype. So you can make like sorbets with fruit. And I sent you a picture of this, Spencer. I don't know if you guys are getting peanut butter and jealous at all.
Well, yeah, I'm already saving up my Zen points to get that creamy, but I'm ways away. I'm a ways away.
I know. So I took all my Zen points and got us a creamy, which was well worth it. But I took a bag of frozen peaches and put like some water and like a little bit of like stevia sweetener in there, and then you freeze it and you spin it. It was like the best peach like sorbet I've ever had in my life. Like it just takes, I don't even know, it feels like a blender that they're just like repurposing and telling you is not a blender. But this shit was legit so fucking good. So I've been on my creamy kick. We've got like 4 different things in the freezer of shit that we're trying. We actually, so I know I'm all over the fucking place. You can feel free to rein me in at any point so we can get going. Well, I obviously want to hear about your weekend too, since we don't talk. But I found these latte, like coffee flavored protein shakes. Have you seen these?
Well, Ripple has those. So
okay, so it's not Ripple. It's just like the ones you buy at Costco, like the I forget the protein brand.
Is it Orgain? Is that the? Because that's the ones we get at Costco. Well, I don't drink them, but
no, I get the ones with the dairy in them. I don't like that plant-based bullshit that tastes like chalk to me.
That's what Ripple is. Is it coffee flavored or is it coffee like actual coffee in it?
So it's coffee flavored. It's like cafe latte, they call it, which I love a good latte. But it actually is a protein shake, and then it also has caffeine in it. It's got 100 milligrams of caffeine, so it's like a cup of coffee, but also a protein shake. So it's my grand idea. We froze 2 of those in the creamy and then spun it and added like a little bit of like, so you spin it. It kind of comes out like a little weird. You have to add a little bit more liquid to it, and then you re-spin it again, and then you generally get your finished product. So I added like a little bit of like half and half to these 2 protein shakes, and it's like a frozen coffee, and it's fucking fire. So
wow, frozen creamy coffee protein, fucking
creamy
killer.
Protein coffee. Yes, it was gas.
Buttery crispy flake.
Buttery crispy crust. How was your Memorial Day weekend?
It was great. Just filled with baseball. Rocky. Exactly where I was going with that. We went to the game Friday night, went to the game Saturday, or skipped Saturday when they lost because I knew that was coming. Went to the game Sunday and got to go in a suite, which was actually pretty cool. Unlimited hot dog. I had 2 hot dogs before the first inning was over, and then I didn't have any the rest of the time. I couldn't stomach the whole, just any more of them really, but just constant popcorn, snacks, all that stuff. And it was pretty incredible. And then yesterday went to the game again, brought mom, and luckily like the super nice usher lady let our mom sit up in the like handicap seats with Sawyer. So because it was not that hot, it was probably like 75 to 80, but it was just torching. And we were right in the sun the whole time. There was no shade, whatever. And so we were just getting torched with sun. So I just went back down and fucking sat in the seat by myself. Kylie and my mom went up with Sawyer, and we're just sitting in the handicap thing, and he was just playing, having a good time. And so it was great. And it was just like nice to have I also played 9 holes Memorial Day Monday morning. So I got the 9 and 9. I didn't ski 9 runs, but I got the 9 holes of golf, hoofed it around the back 9 of Welshire. It was fucking fine. It was great hoofing it. Like it's never as bad as it seems when you roll up and check in and know you have to walk. Like walking is never bad, but that course is like so tight and it makes it not fun to hit golf shots sometimes. Like, and dude, with speaking specifically to my golf game at this exact moment, I'm completely lost with every club other than like driver, it seems like. And and that is like the weirdest feeling for me. Like I'm hitting drives great and I'll get up in the fairway and the greens were hard. There was a few shots I had like from the fairway where I had the right club and it would literally land on the middle or the back of the green and just bounce over. And I hit it like good. So the greens were hard. They were pretty firm, but I'm just lost right now with a lot of clubs and a lot of like and it's not necessarily bad. Like I shot even par at Overland Park last week, but I just don't feel comfortable over anything.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, your wife did text me and ask me if I left one of my training tools, the ball, um, the super. I forget what the brand is, but the ball. She was like, did you by chance leave one of those in Colorado?" So there is one I think in my car, but I don't know if you want to go get it or not. Um, but was that for you or for her?
For her, 100%. We went out and played on Saturday, and she hit it well, but that ball, yeah, I don't know what that thing's called. If you ever want one swing training aid for like a beginner to novice golfer, that is the one that I've never seen like a transformation as quick as just consistent ball striking ability as using that. So put it between your elbows, squeeze your tits together a little bit, but then it keeps. Basically, she just has the issue of just over swinging it. So I tell her to swing at 50%. She still swings at about 80, but she feels like it's 50. And then she ends up not getting that move. It's just here and then kind of down to the ball versus like here and then up and then
Yeah,
back.
yeah, her arm structure just breaks down at the top of the backswing because she takes it back a little bit too far. So then she gets that flying elbow going, and then chaos ensues from there. But I will say, I mean, I've seen her hit the ball over 200 yards, which is pretty damn good. Another thing I wanted to say is I've been practicing quite a bit out here, and I've actually been working on my swing, which feels good. I've been getting to the course like a couple hours early, hitting balls. But dude, the ball just goes nowhere at sea level. It's insane. Like my stock yardages, and I'm not a long hitter anyways, but let's just be real. It's like, have you seen on TikTok where people are like, let's just be transparent about our finances? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like finances and yardages are so hard. They're the same thing because nobody wants to talk about how far they actually hit their clubs. So I'm just going to be flat out with you right here. At sea level, I hit my 9-iron probably $140, and I hit my 8-iron probably 150 to 155 depending. My 7-iron's like 165. My 6-iron's like 175, maybe 180. Like it's fucking bananas. Like I just can't wrap my head around I'm hitting like a full gap wedge like 110 to 115. And like I said, not a long hitter. I'm trying to gain some distance. But it's just so tough to swallow. Like, I'm like, is that fucking real? Like I missed hit an 8-iron and it's like 143. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? But like on a legit good drive out here, I'll carry it probably 260 to 265, which I guess if I'm playing a firm course, I'll get it out there 285 to 290. But the problem is especially I guess it's still May, but everything is so soft out here because it rains so much that it is legit just all carry. So like the Rose where I teach is only like a 6,300 yard course, and it doesn't like in Colorado that's short. That's like a pitch and putt. Here that's like actually a legitimate, like it's not long, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel like a pitch and putt. It doesn't feel near as short. So I guess when they say like 10% for sea level versus altitude, it's actually fairly correct because I would almost equate a 6,300 yard course here to like a 7,000 yard course in Colorado. So it actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Is the par 72?
It's a par 71, I want to say.
So extra 3 or loss of a 5?
I think it's an extra 3. I think there's 3 threes on the front 9.
Oh, that's electric. 3 threes. That's the one thing I do like about Red Hawk here in Colorado is the the back 9 or front 9, I want to say, is it's like freaking 3 and 3 and 3.
3 fours, 3 5s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You just love par fives because it's a good scoring chance. I mean, who doesn't really love a good par five unless the par five's like 620 uphill, like number 7 is at Red Hawk, and then you're just like, holy shit, this is a legit par five. Like four is a really good score there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And there's some par fives where 5 I actually feel really good about. Like a lot of the places we've played at, TPC Colorado, Rain Dance. There's some 5s out there where I'm very pleased with 5.
Dude, Rain Dance, I don't even want to get into it. And I really appreciate them having us out there, but I never want to step foot on that property again.
I just think we maybe don't play the backs again. We just don't play it. We just don't go all the way back.
I wouldn't mind playing the backs again if it wasn't windy. Like, we had wind in our face on a few 600-yard par 4s. Like,
oh, yeah.
We couldn't even, like, I couldn't even carry it to the fairway on a few holes. And when I hit it like 280, 290, 300 yards at altitude, like, that's not a bit, it's not like I'm butting it out there 230. It's fucking bananas, dude. That place made me want to find the nearest high ledge and take a header off of it because it was fucking terrible. I hated that place.
Yeah, there was some forced carries on certain holes where even par 4s where it was like, this, you're going to have to get into one just to carry to the fairway.
Yeah, I remember the 5th hole, that downhill par 4, where there's hard wind in and off the left. And we legit played it like a par 5 and it was a par 4. Like, I had to lay up and then I still had like pitching wedge in. It was obscene. But I'm actually playing golf out here on Friday over at one of the, it's kind of a semi-private course, but it's actually a really good track, with a couple of dudes that I haven't met yet. Actually, one of Sean's buddies, shout out Sean Ryan, our good friend that now lives in Denver, that's from Morristown, where I am currently at in New Jersey. But so he hooked me up with one of his buddies, and he's a member over at this spot. It's called Knoll West, and really, really good track. So I'm looking forward to playing that on Friday. But yeah, dude, golf season's basically in full swing at this point. We got the U.S. Women's Open this week out in the middle of BFE in Pennsylvania at Lancaster Country Club. Like, whose fucking idea was that?
Yeah, there's a lot this week. This is like the full, like, we've already had 2 majors on the PGA Tour, but this is like full swing. We're almost to June. It's almost golf season everywhere. But we want to tell you guys first real quick about the Hanger Club. So we will be doing a live broadcast next Wednesday from the Hanger Club. And this is a great spot. If you're in the Denver area, you have to check out Hanger Club. Tomorrow, May 30th, they've got a patio party from 4 to 7 p.m., yard games, drinks, food. They got a DJ. They always have great sponsors, like liquor sponsors. That's the place I play my winter spring league in. And really, the awesome thing about the Hanger Club is they have a patio now. So I'm excited to check the patio out because a good patio is unlike anything else, especially in Colorado. Patio season is fully upon us, but it's a great place to go when, last Friday, for instance, we were trying to play golf with some friends who were in town, and every course is booked. If you're looking for a last minute tee time, you can't get out most places in the Colorado area. So it's not the greatest time to do it, but going to a place like the Hanger Club where you can go play 9 holes, it's like not as time consuming as an actual round. So if you just have an hour and a half and you want to go practice or play, a quick 9 by yourself, places like the Hanger Club are a lot less busy this time of the year in the summer. So you definitely want to check out the Hanger Club. We'll be there next week, live Big Drive Energy from the Hanger Club. But check that out if you're in town tomorrow, May 30th from 4 to 7 p.m. We got Nick Gismondi's going to join us again for a little bit. We're going to talk about kind of the growth of the Hanger Club. It's a newer simulator bar, but everybody that I've brought to it has been pretty in awe of its just overall views. It's the way it's maintained, how clean it is, how open it is. The vibe around there is incredible, and I'm excited to see this patio. So check out the Hanger Club. We will be live from there next week on Big Drive Energy at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We're switching times, so each week we'll be at 12 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Mountain in Colorado. 10 a.m. 10 a.m.
Mountain in Colorado.
Mountain time in Colorado, not in Phoenix. That's what I meant. Because Phoenix, it's going to be 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Phoenix, 10 a.m. Denver, 11 a.m. Chicago, 12 p.m. Philadelphia / East Coast. See what I did there?
New Jersey, where I'm located.
Yeah, we're full on spanning all the time zones. Also want to tell you guys about our great friends over at Bet365. Somebody had a bet on this past tournament this weekend to be a playoff, and it turned out to be one of the biggest wins on the PGA Tour season by Davis Riley. Like 6-shot lead or 6-shot win, I believe. Never really a doubt in the mind of Davis Riley. Although America was doubting Davis Riley because Scottie Scheffler was still basically the favorite, the slight favorite on the Bet365 app going into Sunday. But download the Bet365 app, use the code ALLCITY, and you get two different options where you can either bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets, or you get up to $1,000 bet on a $1,000 safety net where you can place a bet up to $1,000. If it doesn't hit, you get to go in, get your own rebound, put it back up, and try again with another $1,000 bet from Bet365. They have great boosts all the time. We get a boost every single week on our golf betting. They make it super easy to bet golf with the each ways. We always bet each way 1 through 12. So even if your guy's not necessarily in it, we had two guys that weren't going to win it last week. They both ended up falling out of the top 12, unfortunately. But they were in the top 12 for a while. Mitchell, I thought you were going to put us in the backpack for a week with Tony Finau and Minwoo Lee, and then they both absolutely clobbered themselves on Sunday and shot like almost 80, I want to say. But Bet365 is the app we do all our golf betting through. They also have it. They have the live tracker, which you can track every shot through the live tracker on the app. It's far better than the PGA Tour app. So make sure to check that out. Bet365, code ALLCITY at sign up. Also want to tell you guys about our friends over at Coors Light. When you need a moment to chill, drink a Coors Light. I had a few lattes throughout this whole weekend. Actually had some on Friday night at the game. Loved the big, massive can, except my son just loves to stick his finger in it. So it's unfortunate they don't have the twist tops at the Rockies games, because I would definitely be going twist top on the Coors Light, because then I'm not dealing with my kid bloodying his fingers. So that's when I just handed him a lemon in one hand and a pretzel in the other. So kept his hands busy, double fisting the food, so he wasn't sticking it in my Coors Light. But if you need a moment to chill, Coors Light is by far the best beer for not only Rockies games, not only sporting events, but on the golf course as well. When we drink Coors Lights, it just goes down super easy. You hammer a 6-pack, a 9er, between the two of us usually.
Yeah.
We joked that every Coors Light we drink on the bachelor party we're going to late June is a stroke off your score. And in our group chat, and then like a bunch of dudes were like, "Oh fuck yeah, I'm in, hell yeah!" Like they were like, their 120 is going to turn into maybe like 110 if they knock down about 10 Coors Lights. So get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Also want to tell you about our great friends over at Shady Rays. I've got the Shady Rays on. I wear not the Green Wolf golf glasses. Those strictly stay in my golf bag, but I wear Shady Rays every podcast. They keep these bright lights. Like I got to block out all the haters, so I keep the sunglasses on at all times when on camera. Green Wolf golf glasses, like I mentioned, are the brand new Shady Rays golf-specific glasses. They have multiple types of lenses, whether you like the more sport look or you like the aviator, bigger look when you're playing golf. They're incredible. They fit great. They're comfortable. They actually fit my face. Not a lot of sunglasses fit my face, so I'm happy with them. And they also, just the polarization of the lenses is incredible. It changes the whole look of the golf course, especially when it's sunny out. Like, it makes it so much better to see, and it just gives you a great view of like all the undulation on the greens. You can see I feel like you can see trees better. You can see, it just gives you like a clear view of what you're looking at, and that's super important on the golf course. And if it's a little overcast, which we seem to get here in the afternoon a lot, when it's overcast, it kind of brightens it up. So it's almost like you're in an alternate universe when you're wearing the polarized glasses when it's overcast, and then you flip to those, you're like, oh, It's actually a lot brighter out than I expected it was. So make sure to check out Shady Rays and use the code AC35 at checkout. You're getting 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. This is the best deal of the season. 35% off Shady Rays. They will return your glasses if something's wrong with them or they don't fit, or you lose them. They'll return them within 30 days. So they have the best protection plan. Over 300,000 people are wearing Shady Rays. Get yourself some as well. Use that code AC35 at checkout. Let them know we sent you over to Shady Rays. All right. We've got a lot on the docket today. Where do we start? Where do you want to start? Which road are you leading us down?
I mean, let's just start in order. We'll talk about Davis Riley real quick. Let's put it this way, an impressive win. So I think more of this is like, is Scottie losing his touch a little bit? Like, is elite Scottie kind of going away? Are we, because everybody's so quick to, anoint him the next Tiger Woods, the king. But realistically, you look at the position he started with on the weekend going into Sunday, and he should have won that tournament flat out. Like Davis Riley, he played well, but Scottie Scheffler, and don't get me wrong, Colonial, tough course. It looked a little gnarly. Like the redo they did is clearly not done. The redo they did, the renovation they did is clearly not done yet. But at the same time, it looked like there was some really bad visuals. A couple of the fairways were really rough. Some of the greens were not great. But Davis Riley, he played well enough the first 3 days to be able to coast on Sunday. But the fact that just nobody gave him anything on Sunday, Keegan Bradley gave him a little bit of a push. I think he shot 67, and that was the second lowest round of the day. So it was a very tough day. But overall, I mean, just a lackluster throwaway PGA Tour event once again. Like, I bet they had, 20,000 people watching down the stretch on Sunday.
Yeah, it was definitely a coast for Riley, which honestly, like, you can look at that two ways. One is we're a little annoyed that no one pushed him, even if it was Scottie. Like, you expected Scottie to win that tournament, especially where he played himself into the final group, birdied the last hole on Saturday to get himself into that final group with Riley. And, basically you're playing match play at that point. There's a few guys in front of you that could catch you, but I think it just speaks to how well he played all week. I mean, looking at some of the scores on Sunday, just from our betting card, Finau shot 77, Minwoo Lee birdied the last hole to shoot 76. Like, these guys were a lot over par. And when you look at Scottie Scheffler, and on a Sunday when he's in contention, you see, I think he was 2 over through 11. It must have just been playing hard, and that's just, kudos. You can flip that around and give the kudos to Davis Riley for playing basically an even par round of golf most of the day and just kind of keeping steady, because he could have very easily been a 77, 78 and came all the way back to the field. He would have 77 or 78 would have put him right in that 8-9 under range where he would have been in a playoff, which I was hoping for at plus 350. No big deal. But just kind of a incredible Sunday by him and just incredible week by him to coast basically for most of Saturday and Sunday and just win a PGA Tour event, like with big names in it too. Not a side piece tour event, not an alternate universe tour event. I can't think of what they're fucking called, but I like side piece or alternate
field.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was an impressive win. Don't get me wrong, but this just goes to show you like how hard betting has been on the PGA Tour, unless you've just been riding Scottie like a overworked donkey. Davis Riley did not have a top 10 this season in 15 starts. And then he goes out and wins by 4 or 5 shots, whatever, on a random week on the PGA Tour. So when somebody can go out and win by that many on the PGA Tour randomly and doesn't have a top 10, that it basically betting golf this year feels like it's just been like throwing darts at a dartboard. Like, I honestly might just start scrolling the Bet365 app, close my eyes, and fucking take that dude, because it is such a crapshoot who's going to play well. I mean, you have Scottie in contention. most weeks, but other than that, there really isn't a dude that's consistently played well this entire season.
Yeah, well, and like guys like Jordan Spieth, he was kind of a favorite going into there, a good spot that he's played before, Texas. I mean, the kind of exciting thing was it was almost like playing a semi-new golf course. Like PGA Tour has their rotational places where they play during the entire year, and so you kind of can get a feel for horses for courses. And Riley was, he was up there. I mean, he was probably middle of the pack when it came to, he wasn't necessarily a long shot. He also wasn't a favorite with guys like Scottie in the field, Morikawa, Spieth, etc. But just the redesign of the golf course made it not as in like you didn't have a bead on what was going on as much as you normally would on a PGA Tour event.
Yeah, it's a little bit more of a clean slate.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the unfortunate news from Colonial this weekend. So for those of you guys that haven't heard, Grayson Murray, 30 years old, it was crazy to see. I was listening to the broadcast and I couldn't hear who they were talking about right off the jump. And they said, passed away last night. And my mind kind of went to like, not Arnold Palmer, but somebody like that, like somebody older that had already played on the PGA Tour, was a big part of the PGA Tour. And then they got more into it and kind of found out what happened, and it then released that it was Grayson Murray, and only 30 years old. Wild to see a guy my age, born the same year as me, that's just gone. And the Peter Malnati interview was pretty powerful stuff. I know it was a lot. Like Amanda Balionis, I think, did a pretty good job of navigating that because she interviewed Peter Malnati, and then also, was it
Webb Simpson?
Webb Simpson. Yeah. So, and did Webb play with him as well Thursday, Friday? Or just
no, Webb had known him because they were both from like the North Carolina area, so he's known him for a while.
Okay. Well, and then so yeah, that was a pretty good job by her and by the PGA Tour of kind of navigating that situation mid-round. Some people were mad that they were still playing. They were like, "Oh, if this was Scottie Scheffler or someone else, would you still be playing in the event?" And I guess Grayson Murray's parents released a statement and said they wanted to continue play. Pretty unfortunate because he was playing Friday, played with Peter Malnati Thursday and Friday, kind of withdrew with 2 holes left. And from what I heard, Peter Malnati said to someone like, "Hey, this guy, somebody needs to watch this guy. Like this is kind of
like they need to check on him type of thing." And I don't know if they did or not. And I don't know. That's not going to be released, but that it seems like they didn't do what Peter Malnati asked them to do. I'm speculating here, but by the sounds of it, he did not have a wellness check on him or whatever. And like Spencer said, I mean, there's not much you can say. He took his own life, and he's been so outward about his struggle with mental health, with alcoholism, with addiction. And it truly is sad because I know that I guess he'd been sober for like the last 3 or 4 years, somewhere in that ballpark. And it's so hard to speculate. There's no reason to, if he relapsed or whatever, but he was so good because you rarely find athletes that are so open and honest about their struggles. I mean, you get bits and pieces of it here, but Grayson Murray really wasn't like necessarily in the limelight. Like he wasn't, a grand superstar or anything. He was just a regular ass dude that was really good at golf and really struggled with addiction and mental health. And he was just super open and like outward and very open to like discussing it with people, which is so hard to find. And like, obviously there's really no words. You wish he wouldn't have done what he did, but that's no one else's decision but his own. So I know Kip Henley, his former caddy for a while, they had a spat, and they ended up, Kip was off his bag, but then this last week, Kip was when all the news broke, Kip was devastated on social media talking about how good of a dude Grayson was, how much he loved they would do junior clinics on the PGA Tour for these different foundations, and he genuinely loved like going out and doing it. It wasn't just like a part of something he did. Kip said that he loved working with kids and helping kids learn golf more than anything. So I think on the outside, he had a hard exterior, but on the inside, You know, he was just somebody that had a lot of issues, and he seemed like a genuinely good dude that cared. So just a really tough loss for the PGA Tour. And, you know, I hate to say it, but it really puts things in perspective. Like Harry Higgs, now I think we can go touch on that, because he won again for the second time in 2 weeks. He locked up his PGA Tour card. But he gave a speech afterwards, after the tournament, and basically said,
Well, we have that clip, so
okay, cool. Let's roll it.
Yeah, let's roll it, because this is a powerful. It's 2.5 minutes, but it's worth every second from a guy that's just won back-to-back tour events. He's personally like on a super golf high, and then he goes out and says this, and it's pretty incredible.
I just have a message, so forgive me if things get a little deep. We lost yesterday morning one of our own. I don't know if you guys heard the news, but somebody who went through a lot of difficult things. Somebody that was open and honest about it. And I thought last night I didn't sleep worth a darn, and I'm really good at sleeping. I kind of thought about this moment and how to maybe remember Grayson. And it just kind of dawned on me that I would just, everybody that's here, one, thank you so much for receiving me and congratulating me and cheering me on throughout. But this golf stuff and the result, it's lovely, sure, but it's just not, it's not that meaningful. One thing that I kind of thought of last night, especially laying in bed, is I would challenge everybody here, and I'm going to do this myself as well, each day, say something nice to someone you love. And also, make it a point to say something nice to somebody you do not even know. The world is a very difficult place. Thank you. The world is difficult and only getting more difficult. I've been blessed with great parents and a great support system, and I haven't had, other than some frustration at times, any battles mentally. But Lord knows how many people do, and it's only ever increasing. So if we can, everybody here could be a difference, the difference, brighten up somebody's day. It could mean the world. And then the challenge, I'll start. I'm sure I'll say some great things to people that I love, hopefully here very soon. But the second part of the challenge, say something nice to people that I do not know. I'd like to address each and every one of you guys that are here. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Knoxville, you guys were warm and gracious hosts. This will mean the world to me as I think back on it, but I will just remember the great people that I've met here in Knoxville. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Let's all try to put some good out in the world. Thanks again.
So really good stuff from Harry Higgs there, and it does go to show, like, Grayson Murray, even though, you know, like you said, he had been sober, he reached out to, I forget who it was on Twitter. It was not like a famous PGA Tour player. It might have been a guy, judging by the name. I think he was verified, but he had been maybe on the tour a little bit, on and off of it. And he shared a DM that Grayson had sent him when he was going through some stuff back in 2019. And that makes it harder in my mind. I mean, this is as hard as it gets, especially for like his family, his fiance, his friends. But like, he reached out to another guy and was like, hey man, I know you're going through some stuff. Like, just keep pushing on. Like, it's all good. And then you know, 5 years later, I guess at this point, he gets to that point where he ends up basically, you know, taking his own life on a Friday night after missing a cut at a PGA Tour event and withdrawing. So even though he's won this year, you know, he's had money, like, there's still struggles that a lot of these guys go through. And it just kind of puts it into perspective of, they really are, like, even though they're the best golfers in the world, they're still human, just like all of us. They still put shoes and socks on every day like all of us. They're just a little more famous than we are. So kind of, you know, it's obviously a sad thing, but let's roll that into a happy thing and just talk about Harry Higgs, and not only the great speech, but just winning 2 Korn Ferry Tour events in a row. That's like it's kind of like a flex. It's like he's played a lot of PGA Tour events. He's on and off the PGA Tour, but then he goes down there and is like, all right, I'm going to prove myself. I'm just going to dominate for 2 weeks straight. And now he's got his PGA Tour card back locked up.
Yeah, I'm super happy for Harry Higgs. He's one of the most entertaining dudes on tour. If he, can get into contention somehow down the line on the PGA Tour, it's going to be must watch because he's super entertaining. He's obviously very good at golf, but then he's just got a great personality and, pretty, outspoken, as you saw in that speech right there, not afraid to talk in front of people. So, yeah, I'm super happy that Harry Higgs is getting back on tour. He seemed like a dude that got to, the point where it felt like he was going to break through, and he kind of went in the different direction. But now winning twice, even though it was on the Korn Ferry Tour, I think just getting your feet under you and remembering how to win. It's like for us, I would say it's like playing the up tees, like the white tees or whatever, and just getting a low score in there and getting your confidence back. I think this is going to give him some confidence moving forward next year on the PGA Tour.
Yeah. So let's talk. Shout out to Harry Higgs, 2 wins in a row. Let's go over to Lexi Thompson a little bit, because this is, so if you haven't seen, obviously the thumbnail of the YouTube, Lexi Thompson is officially hanging him up. She's retiring at the end of the year. She's 29 right now. And we've talked about it over the couple of years that we've been doing this podcast. One of Mitchell's favorites. Mitchell, we still have the photo of Mitchell fangirling over her at the Solheim Cup back in, God, what was that now? Is that 2011?
I think it was 2013.
2013.
Yeah.
Just an incredible career for her. And a couple things to note of her this week. So this will be her 18th U.S. Open, and she's 29 years old. So kind of incredible to see, like, what it kind of makes sense. I'm not saying we don't know why she's retiring. She's almost 30 years old, could be wanting to do something else with her life. But it is sad to see, because this tweet from Michael Wolf at Bama Bearcat, annual reminder, Lexi Thompson is playing in her 18th U.S. Open this week. She's 29 years old. And then this is how shitty people are on Twitter. These are the first couple of responses. Love her, but too much talent not to have more wins. Next one. Who can forget her 2021 Olympic collapse? 5-shot lead, 9 holes to play. Next one. One of the greatest losers in American sports history. Next one. Never wins the big one. Like, it's so shitty. Like, all these fucking old fat trolls on the internet couldn't fucking shoot 100 probably. And they're out there like bad mouthing Lexi Thompson for never winning the big one when she's 29. She's going to retire. And when I say this, I say it like tongue in cheek, but all she did was play golf her whole life. They're just pissed they're sitting in a fucking cubicle at 55, still grinding their ass off. Talking shit about her on Twitter is just insane.
Oh, I 100% agree. I mean, she has made over $14 million in career earnings in 12 years on the LPGA Tour. So she's averaging, $1.2 million a year, 1.25. And I guarantee you any of those dudes making comments like that are not sniffing. That's probably what they've made in their entire careers. So, yeah, it's just unfortunate, when you get internet trolls, but that is the quote unquote beauty of the internet. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, and a lot of them are shitty. So, the people that really matter will congratulate her, tell her how awesome she was. I mean, she was the last LPGA Tour player to make a cut on the PGA Tour. So that was super cool. Did she was the last person to participate. Did she make the cut?
No, I think she just missed the cut.
Okay.
I think she was like 2 shots off the cut line. Yes,
but she actually played very well last year in Vegas. So, kudos to her. I feel like she was, and that's why I said end of an era, because I feel like she was somewhat of a trailblazer for a lot of these younger girls. She was like, it felt like the OG teenage, like, mainstay in professional golf. And she's dealt, with a lot of critics her entire life. And to hear that, like, it's just so crazy. She's a seasoned veteran and she's my age. Like, she's been playing on the LPGA Tour for a dozen years. When I was 17, I was a fucking idiot, and I still am, but a little bit less of an idiot. And just to see like her maturity and how she carries herself, and it feels like she mentors some younger players, and she's just been like one of the main faces for the LPGA Tour for the last dozen years. So really credit to her. She won 11 times, so she's averaging just under a win per season. You can't ask for a lot more than that. Obviously you'd like to see her, you would have liked to have seen her got a major or two in there, but ultimately everybody's going to look back and have nothing but fond memories about Lexi Thompson's LPGA Tour career.
Yeah, and I hope it doesn't. The one thing that worries me about this a little bit is there's definitely a lot of there could be a myriad of reasons why she's retiring. Number one, if she's been smart with her money and you have 14 mil before you turn 30, you obviously have had to spend some of that to live your life, but she doesn't have to work anymore. Doesn't have to grind. Maybe the grind of the LPGA Tour is just over. I did see some other things on Twitter where, true or not, they were just said, and everybody's entitled to opinion, even if they suck. But the fact that she never really seemed like she loved the game, and that could be true, but that kind of makes me think that maybe, it worries me that maybe she started a little bit too young and was playing way too competitive too young and not enjoying it as an 11, 12, 13-year-old and playing in the US Open. And not saying that's not a great experience. We've talked the last 5 or 6 weeks, there's been a different teenager on the PGA Tour or the Korn Ferry Tour making cuts or playing well. And that's awesome for them, and they should definitely do it. But there's so many studies that go into like playing more than one sport as a younger like teenager and getting a feel for everything and what you like to do. And clearly, if you're really good at something and you can make money off of it and you can become famous and start a career on a tour playing a sport, you're going to do it. But I just hope that it's not like a sign of things to come with a lot more, PGA, LPGA Tour players, et cetera, just retiring before they're even 30 years old because they're so burnt out in the game. And I'm not saying that's the case, but that's maybe what it appears like. She could have injury issues. She could just be done grinding. She could want to start a family. There's a lot of things that go into this, but it does kind of lead me to believe that there's maybe a burnout there.
Yeah, I mean, when you start that early, there's definitely going to be a burnout. But when you mention like people talking about her lack of love for the game, how many people in today's world work a job that they hate? Like, how many people hate their career, quote unquote, but they make good money or this or that? Nobody's doing very few people in this world are doing their job for the love of what they do. A job is a means to an end. At least that's how I think most people think of it. So for people to question her passion or whatever, you don't get to she's not a machine. You don't get to the point where you're successfully playing on the LPGA Tour without having some want or, getting any enjoyment out of it. So I think people saying that, burnout is a relative thing, when you're playing year-round golf for a dozen plus years, it is a grind, and some people do it and some people can't. But to do what she did, I just don't see why there's any, negativity being spewed about her career. I mean, she was awesome. It just sucks that we're losing her this early because, I mean, is this a sign, like you said, of things to come where, especially on the LPGA Tour, like Nelly Korda calling herself old and she's 25. Like, what are we doing here? She's like, even in, we talk about the NBA, the NFL, all of this relative to golf because you can play golf so much longer. She's even young in NFL terms, in NBA terms. She's like in her prime right now.
Oh yeah, she's mid 20s is, I used to think being like a 22, 23-year-old that was prime, and I'm not a professional athlete, so it's very different, but
were you in your prime? Was that when you had your six pack?
About 23, that was my physical prime. But seeing athletes go, it's more like if I had to give a prime 4 years, it would be 26, 27, 28, and 29. And maybe some guys, some sports even 30. But that's more of the prime years than like I used to think it was like 23 through 25 or 23 through 26. Like that was more prime. But now you see athletes and you're like, okay, now they've figured out what league they're in. They figured out the schedule, their lives, what they're like. And now they're really locked into their specific sport and they're just dominating at it.
Yeah.
So we rolled from a sad clip earlier to a happy clip that related. This is still on the LPGA Women's Golf Tour, but Charley Hull is an absolute legend. We have a clip here of her. This is from the Mizuho America's Open, and this is her walking to the tee box, number 17, and dart. I mean, is there any... do you hear in the background? I think there's like somebody say, I think you can kind of hear a hot mic of like, oh, she is gorgeous. Which is a little creepy, but not as bad as not the worst hot mic about women's sports in the last couple of days. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out Twitter. But first of all, not to get deep here, not to go Harry Higgs, but obviously we both lost our dad due to cancer and smoking. So we can kind of be lighthearted about it. And, it sucks, but life is what it is. But this is legendary. I'm sorry. Like, we see it on like Peaky Blinders. Somebody's still smoking cigarettes. I just can't help but not to fucking tip my cap. And then this chick who's not bad to look at and then just ripping heaters in the middle of a tournament, John Daly style. I can't get over it.
I totally agree. I mean, she's a certified rocket. Let's just be honest. Let's just call a spade a spade. She's an absolute smoke show. And unfortunately, like, for how bad cigarettes are for you, you look so fucking cool when you smoke one. Like, she's signing cigarettes. She's signing autographs with a cig like hanging out of her lips. And I'm like, holy shit, she is like the coolest person on the planet. And then actually a picture surfaced today on Twitter of Nelly Korda and Charley Hull and another player. Nelly Korda had her phone out and she was showing Charley Hull the meme of her standing there smoking cigs, signing autographs, and they were all cracking up. Like, they all loved it. So I think it's just legendary. And I will say too that I think it makes a little bit of a difference that she is so good looking, just because it's not something you necessarily expect from a girl that looks like that. But anybody ripping a heater out on the golf course, like, I will say, if you watch the DP World Tour and she plays on the Ladies European World Tour or Ladies European Tour, you see a lot more cigarette smoking. Like, I remember Nicholas Colsaerts smoked quite a bit. They would always, and it was funny because they'd show guys like standing there in the fairway waiting for another player to hit, and he's just standing there ripping a heater, and then they immediately like get the camera off him, like they don't want to show it. But in all honesty, if there's any game that makes you want to smoke cigarettes, it's golf, right? Like, you just need to rip a heater, John Daly style, take a chill pill, drink a Coors Light. Like, it is the perfect game to smoke cigarettes. So I can't blame her one bit. And obviously cigarettes are terrible for you. We're not condoning smoking cigarettes, but I'm not going to say you don't look badass when you got a cig hanging out of your lips and you're out there firing, 3-4 under par in a women's major.
Oh yeah. And I'll never forget the first round of golf I ever played with somebody that smoked cigarettes. I was 12 years old. I obviously hated cigarettes, but this old guy at the golf course that we were playing at, I just paired up with him and he just would throw it on the ground. And that, like, I didn't think that was normal. I was like, what if this course starts on fire? I work here. I clean carts here. How am I going to make $7 an hour doing something else? But I just remember him throw it on the ground, hit a tee shot, and then just pick it right back up right in the mouth. And I was like, that's fucking cool.
Do you know what I think is an underrated move too? Is the cigarette flick. Like, when you're done with it and you just flick it out, like, that shit is so sick. Unfortunately, once again, there's so many cool things about cigarettes. Like, sometimes you just need a heater, specifically after 18 beers at the bar on a Friday night. You just want to go outside and rip some fresh air and also just rip a fucking cowboy killer.
100%. All right, let's get through a few rapid fire things. So this story from Jared Durfler, this 38-year-old from a small town in eastern Iowa is playing on the DP World Tour this week. I won't read the whole thing, but Jordan Weber is from Bernard, Iowa, a town of 115 people. His dad had more cows than the town had people. He picked up the game as a teenager. He turned pro after graduating in 2008, didn't have much money, so raised $26,000 from friends and family to play on the Dakotas Tour 5 times that summer with 2 wins, a second and a third, so good player. Got the Yips in Q school. In 2012, he quit and worked at Wells Fargo. And then this past winter, he started playing on the Next Golf Tour, won twice, and he won the Next Golf Order of Merit. With that win, he earned a DP World Tour start and 3 Challenge Tour starts, which that will start this week. So 12 years after he hung it up, his dream is still alive. He'll be playing on the DP World Tour this week. So Jordan Weber, if you're up early this weekend, UNI guy, our dad went to UNI, so a little bit of a connection there for us. Just
for those of you who don't know, it's University of Northern Iowa. It is a very small D1 school.
Cedar Falls, Iowa.
Yeah, Cedar Falls, Iowa. Shout out Cedar Falls. I will say, do you know what this tour is, Spencer?
The Dakotas?
No, the Next Golf Tour.
Oh, no, I haven't heard of it. I've heard of it, but I haven't looked into it.
It's a simulator tour.
Oh my God.
Yes, so you have to have a TrackMan, but in all honesty, this Next Golf Tour is ingenious because it scales. You can scale it to a point that's unlike any other tournament because there's unlimited signups. I think they cap it at like 2,000 people.
So it's like Lyft and Uber reinvigorated the taxi game. This is kind of the same thing. You use your own shit, fucking play against a bunch of people that we put in a system.
Yes, exactly. So you have to have a TrackMan, but if you're on a TrackMan certified simulator, you pay like the entry fees like $120 a tournament, and this dude wins, and I think he made over like 60 grand on that golf tour. Like, talk about a good little side gig. You go hop into your TrackMan in your garage, shoot, I mean, don't get me wrong, the dude's playing really, really good golf, but then the fact that he gets a DP World Tour exemption and 3 Challenge Tour exemptions out of this is just like a great story, like super cool. And it truly like is evolving the way we golf, because I know we've talked simulator golf is not real, and it really isn't. If you're taking gimmies anywhere, it's not real, especially from 8 feet plus. We're not talking tap-ins here. We're talking 8-footers. But it's truly changing the landscape of pro golf. Like, how many more tours are going to do this? Because you think about it from a business aspect, Spencer, you get 2,000 people to sign up at, $125 a pop. That's close to, what is that? 2,000 times 100. That's like
200,000.
Yeah, that's 200 to 250,000. Yeah, I had some dumb brain math going on in there. For a second, I was like, is that only 20,000? Didn't add the extra zero, but it truly is scaling the way you play golf, because like I said, the dude who organizes it, you have over 200,000. Say you even pay out 150 grand or 200 grand, you're making 10, 20, 30 grand for just orchestrating and setting up this whole thing, and you're really doing no legwork whatsoever. So I feel like these people are onto something, a little bit ahead of their time, but it's truly changing the game.
So with my Pop-A-Shot skill, I'm going to be expecting a G League 10-day contract here coming up pretty soon, I think.
We should start
this is. That's basically what this is.
Yeah, 100%. If you could somehow hook your Pop-A-Shot up to a computer, although I will say you are the owner of your domain of Pop-A-Shot, but I think we get you under the bright lights with some of the real players. I think you get your shit rocked.
Probably.
I think you're a big fish in a small pond. That is your basement Pop-A-Shot.
Yes. I am a massive fish in that tiny little 10-gallon tank. All right. One other quick note. Shout out to Richard Bland, live player, winning the Senior PGA KitchenAid Championship. Hilarious because there was a couple different links we shared during this, but the way they congratulated Steve Stricker last year and then the way they congratulated Richard Bland this year were so, they made it extremely bland, and they didn't respect Blandemonium, that's for sure.
Blandemonium is really good, but yes, I saw that, and it was just so funny because they legitimately, the PGA Tour champions just tweeted, Richard Bland is your 2024 PGA champion, senior PGA champion. No exclamations, no nothing, just threw it out there. Basically, like, when an NBA team gets beat horribly and the Twitter account still has to tweet the final score.
Yeah.
they're like final score, or with the Rockies every night when they got to tweet out their absolute turd, they're like final score. You got to do it. So it was like one of those tweets that the Champions Tour had to put out there, but you could tell they really didn't want to celebrate him. And quick side note, we mentioned it in the intro, but so Richard Bland doesn't get any status on the Champions Tour because of his live association, which, kind of horse shit to begin with. But then the PGA Tour Champions is so hardcore that Greg Chalmers, who really fun dude to watch, shout out Lou Stagner, Mark Crossfield. They have a podcast called the Hack It Out podcast with Greg Chalmers. Fantastic Australian lefty that's been on tour, been playing professional golf for feels like 30 years now. I mean, he's in his 50s, but he has no status on the Champions Tour. He's been Monday qualifying to all these events. I think he's played in 3 or 4 this year. He finishes third at a major, even on the senior tour, and he has to go Monday qualify the following day for the next event. Like, you finish top 3 in a major and you get no status. You don't even get one more start. So absolutely bananas to me. Like, the Champions Tour, whenever you hear an old dude that's almost 50 go, I may give the Champions Tour a run. I would argue that the Champions Tour is harder to get on than the PGA Tour, than the fucking Korn Ferry Tour, because it is so cutthroat. Like, I think qualifying school, they have 5 spots every year. Like, they legitimately have no openings. They have no fucking vacancy at the end, at the PGA Tour Champions Inn, because these dudes just play until they're 70 years old. So it is so freaking hard to get out on the senior tour. Next time you hear your 45-year-old scratch buddy tell you he wants to, give the Champions Tour a run, tell him to go fucking
go play Golden Tee.
Yeah, exactly. That's what a lot of our buddies do. A bunch of fucking idiots.
All right. Since we missed Monday, I want to do a Mulligan of the Week. Let's wrap it up with that weekly segment, Mulligan of the Week. If you're just tuning in, just new, make sure you like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching this on the YouTube. Subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Big Drive Energy Golf. Mulligan of the Week is where we take something from our past week and wish we could do it over. And this kind of parlays from my Mulligan of the Week last week, where, how we talked about being a one-trip guy from the store. I was being a one-trip guy I had a couple cases, like when they do a deal at Target for like buy 2 cans, 12-pack cans of soda and get one free. Like, I'm going to go from buying the one I was going to buy to 2 so I can get the third for free. It's just, that's girl math. That's how it works. But so now I'm basically paying for 2, getting 3, obviously. That's pretty standard. But so I get root beer, I get Mountain Dew, and I get Pepsi or Dr. Pepper, all diet, of course. No sugar in this no sugar in this temple. But so I'm trying to carry this stuff down, and I've got like my hands and I've got my fingers, or like my pinkies are getting wrecked by the bags. I've got the like cans of soda fucking underneath me. And then I try to like rotate it a little bit and grab the root beer with my fucking ring finger in the little hole, the little can hole that they give you in the box. And it slips and rips the root beer. They all hit the ground like fucking everywhere, all over the floor.
They exploded?
Yeah, Sawyer's sitting on the floor just rubbing his hands in root beer. It was just like such a fucking disaster. I was like, dude, just take true trips next time. Take the extra trip, especially when you got shit like that. But yeah, one exploded. It was only one, but then it was the last one in the box. So we're trying to go through the whole box. It's all sticky, pull it out, try to find the empty one that just had exploded everywhere. It was a real treat.
Yeah, that is quite the fuck up on your part. You were like that gif of that dude carrying all like the car cleaning supplies, and it's just a yard sale. He just lets go of all of it. I had written down a fairwayer 4, so that was just a miscommunication on our part. I fucked so many things up throughout the week that I, I do have one off the top of my head though. So I'm still not familiar enough with my drive to the golf course, and it's like a 45-minute drive, so it's not short. So one day my girlfriend calls me while I'm driving to the golf course. She's like on her lunch break, and I just completely miss my exit because I have to have directions up. And so it took me like 45 more minutes. The roads in New Jersey are so fucked up. Like you can't take a left turn off, like even a main road. So picture like Parker Road, Spencer. There's no left turns on main roads like Parker Road. They have an extra lane to the right that like loops you around to the other side of the intersection, or you just flat out have to take a right. You basically have to backtrack your way. So my car is like rerouting. I have no fucking idea where I am, and I ended up being late. Like luckily I gave myself enough time, but I missed one exit, and all of a sudden I'm on a fucking 45-minute goose chase. I have no idea where I'm at in, South Jersey, and it was a nightmare. I was like, I cannot talk on the phone and try to follow directions at the same time. I just can't multitask.
Yeah, I'm a multitasker while I'm driving, but if I'm going somewhere where I need directions, I can't be. I have to be locked in on those directions or where I'm going at 100%.
One of those when you turn the volume down so you can think about what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, think about your next turn.
Yeah, you're like, I can't. I'm on my brain. My tiny little pea brain is just on overload at this point.
Exactly. All right, Marissa, you have a mulligan of the week for us?
I do.
All right, let's roll it out there. We're gonna send it off on a positive note.
I don't know if it's positive, but so I'm very impatient, and I think most women are when they ask their husbands to like do something. Like, hey, can you help me like carry this big old heavy thing because I can't do it by myself? Like, we want it right away.
Yeah. It's not like, can you carry it in 20 minutes? It's
no,
can you get your ass up off the couch and carry that shit right now?
And like, even if you tell us like, give me 5 minutes, like I'll end up I'll go do it myself. Like I hate waiting. So I just got this mini fridge. It's just like way too heavy, and I needed to move it. So we stuck it in Christian's car, and I asked him to help me move it out because I'm not strong enough to get it out. And he's like, yeah, give me like 10 minutes. And I waited like 2 seconds, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to go do it myself. Well, I definitely wasn't strong enough. And when I went to go pull it out of the like car, it got stuck on, I had like cargo pants on. So it got stuck on the cargo pants, and it was like at that position where like my pants were going to go down with it. And I was like in the middle of the parking lot. So it was like, oh God, like I either let my pants go down and I like push it back up, or I just go down with it. So like, of course I chose to not let my pants go down, and I just started falling backwards. And then I realized that it was very top heavy because I had the motor part of it on the front, and I was like, oh, I'm going down, and I'm getting like a busted nose in the process. So I literally just like slid down, and it like rolled down, and I had my neighbor who was like watching this happen, and she's a little old lady, so she's like, oh no, so she's like trying to run over there, and it just like ended up on top of me. I could not move. It had me pinned. And then I had to wait for Christian to come back downstairs because she's like, where's your husband? I'm like, I think he's upstairs. And he like slowly comes downstairs. He sees me. Then he realizes, I think he got like embarrassed that I was like on the ground, pinned to the ground. So he like slowly comes over, and he's like, you couldn't wait, could you? And I was like, no.
I said, give me 10 minutes.
I will say that it's such a double standard between women and men. Like if a man asks a woman to do something, it's on their time. Basically everything's on the woman's timetable. Like
pretty much.
When they ask you to do something, it's now. When you ask them to do something, it's whenever they want. But also, Marissa, you've talked a pretty big game about like fighting people and all this stuff. You literally got taken down and pinned by a fridge. So
in my defense,
next time you want to fucking talk a big game about getting into a fight with somebody.
Well, in my defense, that fridge is the exact same weight as me. So it was like an even weight distribution, and I was helping it out, so I wasn't ready.
That'd be a great meme to make, just Marissa in one corner and the mini fridge in the other corner, like weighing in at 120 pounds. I have no idea what you weigh, but
no, you hit it on the dot. Good job.
Oh wow, look at me go. But yeah, next time you think about fighting, it's like Spencer running his mouth.
Much. You could have just been like, oh, I was talking about the mini fridge.
Well, yes, it was like I don't even know if this story's out there or not, but Spencer in Dallas going chest to chest with, not in Dallas, in Phoenix, going chest to chest, getting ready to fight this one dude. And Spencer's like, I get up there and I realize he's fucking huge. He's like 6'4". He was shit faced, so I think maybe you get one good swing in, but yeah, you don't pick a fight with a mini fridge like that or a dude way bigger than you.
Next week we can talk about Lindsay almost beating up Spencer. That's a good story.
Yeah, Spencer loves to get dommed.
Semantics. Okay. We're definitely ending on that. Make sure you follow us on all the socials. I am at Big Drive Spence. He is at Big Drive Mitch. She is at Marissa Hayes 11 on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at Big Drive Energy, as well as TikTok and Instagram, Big Drive Energy Pod. We will talk to you guys on Monday. Got a few Women's U.S. Open this weekend. Winner Circle Monday should be a banger. And then next Wednesday, we will be live from Hangar Club. Set your calendar, set your clock, whatever you got to do. 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 12 p.m. Eastern. We will be live from the Hangar Club talking about simulator golf, talking about golf in general, and just having a good old time like we do every Wednesday.
I got to go get my haircut.
Mitchell's got to go get his haircut. He's on a quick timer. All right, we're out. Peace.
Peace.